Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's episode, we are gonna be tackling one of ROKR's newest models is the submachine gun. Just like kind of your normal weapon. I don't mess too much with guns, but there's definitely some springs and some other stuff I don't normally deal with, so we'll see how it goes, but I'll just go through and kind of show you all the pieces. This actually has a lot of boards that it came with, and for the most part I believe they're all for one specific piece or part. There's the stained part for like the grips and the handles and stuff, but looking it over, it looks like all the pieces kind of relate to one part of the model and everything. So but we'll see once we kind of get into it. But it's definitely a lot more than what I was expecting. And then here's your projectiles that you're going to be using, all the mechanical pieces and screws, and a ton of rubber bands. So we'll see how that goes. And of course the instruction manual, and it seemed like they've kind of going to this fold out type instruction manual instead of a booklet. So we'll see how it goes, see if it's easier to follow or not and everything. So but I'm gonna do like I did the last one, the cello, is I'm actually gonna stain this as well just to make it look a little bit better. Was gonna paint some of it, but with some of the designs on the side and everything, I think the paint may cover it up a little bit. So I may just stick with stain, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But as always, if you like my videos, please like, share, subscribe, leave comments, hit the notification, and I'll get back to you. And with that, we'll get started. Hi everyone, welcome back. So just like my cello that I stained for you, instantaneous from my last video, but it actually has been probably 2 or 3 weeks just because of all kinds of other stuff going on, whatever. But I wanted to show you what the pieces look like. Now this time I didn't leave them in the boards to stain them because there were some pieces, boards where it needed multiple colors. So I decided to take all the pieces out and try to do them that way and just do one color at a time and everything, which was a little harder on some pieces, easier on the bigger ones. It was mostly the smaller ones I was having issues with. I still think it would have been harder to leave them in the boards to try to stain and try to mark off, you know, what I'm doing and everything. So now I'll just show you what I did. So there's this is a stain color. It's called charcoal gray that I found that I think is going to look pretty good. I wanted to use a color, an actual like craft paint, but there were some details on some of these bigger pieces that the paint would probably cover up that I didn't want to cover up. So I just try to use a stain instead of paint. And I think this will be okay. I think it'll look somewhat like metal or gunmetal, but that was about the closest as I could find. So we'll give it a shot and see what it looks like. But you see, you know, like my black, which is my espresso that I used before, and then this is gun stock color that I used. And with these, I didn't do 2 coats on the brown. I wanted to leave it just one because I think it was getting dark enough. But everything else I did 2 coats on. And then, but I went through the instructions and to see exactly what piece was going where, and that's how I decided the stain color and everything. So this one's pretty much the rifle part and everything, so that's why there's a lot of black on that one. Then coming up here, and then these flowers on here, I'm actually going to use some paint to kind of touch those up a little bit. but I wanted to wait till I had it all completely done before I did that, just so I don't mess up the paint or anything like that. So hopefully, because it's not going to be covered or anything, but we'll see how it goes. And then here, this was the board that was already stained, but I didn't really like the stain. I wanted it to be a little darker, so I stained it the same that I did this right here. I just used that on here, so made it a little darker, so not too bad on that. And then just some more, like I said, some of these boards, I used multiple colors, so I just think it would be hard to try to mark off, you know, certain pieces that aren't going to get stained to what you're going to stain. So that's why I decided to take everything out. I sanded everything, and I was looking at instructions, like, and the majority of pieces are just going to be one-sided that I stained, and some of them I did stain twice, or the other side. So hopefully identify those correctly, and if not, then we'll adjust it once I get to those pieces and whatever. So, but oh, and these last couple, that's what I did here, and I already got some pieces out for our first steps and everything. But and then here is just like where the trigger is. It's like a 2-coat. Where I did brown, and then the main part I did that charcoal gray and everything. So, but so that's what it's gonna look like. So we'll see what it looks like put together. May look okay, may not look okay, but you know, hey, at least give it a shot and just see what happens and everything. And you know, maybe that craft paint would have been okay, but I just didn't want to take a chance with it. But I kind of like this charcoal gray. It makes it look you know, kind of like gunmetal-ish or whatever. So, but we'll see. But okay, so we got our first few pieces out, and again, the instructions are just one big instruction book, you know, kind of booklet that you got to flip back and forth and everything. So, so we'll see how it goes. Now, and again, some pieces I only stained the one side because I thought it was going to be the only side you're going to see. So we'll see how this goes. So, and it also helped that a lot of pieces had the numbers on them, where some of them didn't. So, we'll see how that goes as well. Because I wasn't for sure exactly how the pieces were going to fit and everything. I just, you know, like I said, relying on the instructions and kind of what it looks like and everything. So we shall see. We shall see what it looks like. Okay, so with that, now we're going to use this. Is going to go here. And then we're gonna, and a lot of the tabs are gonna be sticking out from the bottom, so you may have to find something to set it on. So these right here go in here. But the one pieces where I did need to stain both sides, you know, I had to kind of do one side, let it dry, do a second coat on the same side, let it dry, then flip the piece over, and then do the same for the other side, and then also, you know, do the edges, you know, to get that out of the way as well, you know, if it was going to be showing. 25. So definitely more intensive, you know, it just depends on how much you want to put into the model. And again, some of these connector pieces that I stained, I probably didn't need to stain, you know, the front and the back. I just probably needed to stain like the end point or whatever, but I wasn't for sure. I mean, I was just, like I said, doing the best I can with it. And then this is gonna go onto here. Just slide on down. So, and then this goes like that. So, and what we're working on is the one handle. or like the stock that kind of goes up against your shoulder and everything. So that's where we're kind of starting. Okay, so now use this. And just verifying everything, just kind of how it's looking. Okay, so this is supposed to go here, so we'll see how this goes. Like I said, I stained the sides that had the numbers because I figured those would be the ones kind of in the front, but I may have missed some, but it may not matter. You know, it just depends on how it turns out. 9. Here. And that's just the, you know, extra steps you have to take, you know, if you're wanting to stain and everything. So the more pieces or more involved the model is, the more prep you got to do for it. And, you know, just to get everything involved as you want, or just, you know, how much time you actually want to spend on it. Because you may have to stain some pieces, work, you know, on the steps that you're working on, and then get that step done. And then once those steps are done, then go ahead and then get your next pieces out, and then stain just those pieces for those, just for those steps. But that's definitely going to be a lot of, you know, back and forth with the different colors and everything. So I just prefer to stain all at once. There we go. Okay. And then this will go up in here. I already broke my nail. Okay. Okay, so we got that part. So it shows, doesn't really say this is supposed to be the back side. I mean, it tells you the ones that are, the ones that aren't. So far it's kind of what it's showing, but I'm also matching it to how it looks on the picture. So yeah, I may have to do that little stain right there. It's sticking out a little bit. We'll see. Okay. And this is the printed side. Has a little arrow on it that you can't really see, but has the arrow going this way. So I guess these I probably should have done both sides. Oh, that's not really sticking out, so. Okay. And this is the last step. Just getting all these in the, all these connected in the hole here. And so we just work one at a time. Go all the way around just so it doesn't get uneven as you're going down. And just slowly push down. Work your way around until all of it is fully connected. Okay. So there's kind of the first step per se. And depending on how this turns out, I may need to come back and stain, you know, a little bit here, maybe a little bit here. So we'll see. Okay, so we got our next pieces out, moving forward. Okay, so we have this. So it looks like the front side of this which you can see like a little design right here to let you know that's the front side, which, you know, I didn't do the back. And it looks like you get your A7s that'll go up into here. Gonna stick up, and then A11 goes down into here, which is interesting. It's like it fits it almost like perfect. So you gotta just make sure it's level, because most of these other ones, it has the tabs out far enough where it'll won't go any further. But these, for this one, it's perfectly aligned where you just need to make it flush with the board. If you need to use your pliers to ensure that this doesn't stick up too much. Okay. And okay, so these will go down into here, like that. If I can get them, there we go. And that'll go down. Then you have to be careful pushing this down, because you're going to push this down. So if you want to lay it on a flat surface to ensure that it doesn't, because these seem like they're going to go right through. Let's see here. There we go. I have no idea how this is going to go. Okay, so now we've got this piece, and okay. So pretty much all these holes are going to go into all of these tabs. So I guess you can just start with one and work your way around. Because all these shouldn't okay, that's the only hole that doesn't have a tab. Shouldn't pop out or anything. Oh, maybe it does. Okay. So you're just going to have to work with it to make sure it's all connected together really well. Whoops. You may have to push on the tabs a little bit to get it to go. Again, you're just going to have to work with it. Just kind of press it all together, and then just make sure the tabs on your connectors aren't sticking up too much, because whatever you put on top is gonna, you know, probably not be straight. Okay, so now is put okay, we're putting these two pieces on, but they want you to put this on first. So these go over these tabs here, but you got to watch this piece here to go into the slot. back and forth. And then just there's really no other connector. No, just as long as that's in here and that these are all the way down. Just got to push that down. It'll stick out a little bit, but it'll eventually probably get there. And now what we're going to do is put this on. It's going to cover all the holes and stuff. And with these, we're actually going to be using some metal screws. So you can always kind of line it up with the hole. And they give you a screwdriver to use as well. And just kind of get it started. And then come down. Try to find your other hole. Get that one started. And find this other one. Get that one started. And then just go ahead and screw it all the way down until it is good and tight. And tight, not super tight. Because this one wasn't, didn't seem like it was going to go in too well, but okay. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to stain that right there and this back here. But, so, it's kind of the stock, whatever, but yeah, I'm going to come in and paint this. So, like I said, I didn't want to mess with the color if I did it beforehand, but okay, so now we're going to turn it over. And then we're going to put this one on. I have a feeling this is just going to be the exact same as the previous side of what we did. That's why you want to make sure the tabs are nice and level on the other side, so you have enough room for these tabs to fit. Okay, and then yeah. Yep, okay. And just rock these into place. Shut down. Okay. All right. Now, okay, so we have this piece, and then we're going to be putting these tabs in to here. Like I said, I probably didn't need to stain the sides of the tabs, but hey, you never know. Okay. And where am I Okay. So it says the kind of, I think this is going to be the same as the other one. Oh, no, it isn't. Okay. So this will lock down. Yeah, right there. 5. Lock down into here. And then A2. Lock it down into here. Okay. And then now this is going to go into these 3 holes. Or yeah, okay, so this hole, and this hole, that's where everything's going to go into. Okay, so I had to use some pliers, held it like this, and kind of pushed it in to get it to stay. So I'm just checking these other pieces to make sure these are good in. Yep. Yep. Okay. Whew. Alrighty. Alright, so there's kind of the next step to get done. So that's what it would kind of look like. It's the completed side of one. Like I said, I'll have to touch up some stain in a couple spots. Okay, so we got our next pieces out. Not too many with this one, but I'll kind of want to stop at a good point to not do a lot of steps at the same time. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna get one of your springs out. Get your F12 piece and your A2, put that in here, and the spring is gonna go over the little tab right here. And if you have trouble getting it on there, just kind of get it on there and then just turn the spring counterclockwise, or clockwise, I guess, but just, or turn it towards you, and it'll kind of rotate on by itself. Kind of makes it a little easy. And then for here, with your tab part, you want it to just go down into here. Make sure that's nice and tight, so the spring should go right into the hole, just like that. And then flip the page. And then you want to get your A6. I did the wrong side, but it's all right. Okay, so your second tab on this, the one in the middle, right here, it's going to go into the hole right there. And that's where it's going to go. It should slide in pretty easy. There you go. That's nice and flush. Okay, and then you're going to get your J11 right here. And then that is going to go over there, this entire thing, and slide all the way down. Okay. So you got that in there like that. So now I'm going to get your J7 like this, and they want you to sand or wax this top part right here, so there's probably going to be something going back and forth on this. So I did stain here, so I just sanded as much stain as I could get off of it, and then I went ahead and put wax on it and everything. So with this, so you're just going to put it on top of all the tabs that are sticking up. And then just like all the other ones, just You know, just work with them. There we go. Just work with all the all the tabs sticking up, and just get them all to fit before you start pushing it all the way down. And then look at everything else. Just start at one side, and then just start pushing it down. And just be careful so you don't go all the way down. Just do it a little at a time. And then till you get close enough where you can push it all the way down. And push that down. That down. Okay. Yep. So then just go back through and just make sure it's all the way down, because we're going to be putting something else on top of it. Yep. Okay, and then okay, it has 2 screws. Okay, I got you. So I have some screws that you're going to put in, but I'm going to put this in first. Again. Gotta get all the tabs in where they're going. You got somebody to visit us because they want to help. In the way, as always. Since I got rid of our visitor. Okay, so I just pushed this in. As you can see, you got these 3 tabs right here. You gotta try to get the fit along with the board, the one piece that you had to put in. So you just gotta keep working at it. Just make sure everything lines up. Push in. Just make sure you're not, you're lined up on all the other ones, and then just squish them together. Make sure they're in there good. And then these screws right here, you want to make sure that they are going in the holes, which I'm trying to see. So hold this on the other side and then just screw this in. And then what they say is the screw cannot protrude past this right here. You don't want it sticking out. You just want it flush, because it'll interfere with the action of the projectiles, I'm guessing. So, but you still screw it in until it's flush. You just don't want it sticking out, which I would have thought that that's what they would do, is make it, there it is, make it long enough where it wouldn't go past that. And it looks like they may have, but just in case, if you you're trying to be a little over too anxious with it and try to tighten it too much. Okay. The main part of the screws is to hold this right here in place so it doesn't move. And yeah, looking at it, yeah, they're not going anywhere. Okay. So there's that part. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna be working on the trigger and the guards, for the handle right here. Okay, so it looks like the easiest way is gonna be, you got this, and then you have your A23 that has an arrow. Your A23 that has an arrow pointing down. So you want to make sure that the arrow pointing down goes in to your J9. Okay. And then you got your J13 that also has an arrow that's pointing up. So you want to make sure that that is pointing up as you're putting it on. Okay. And then you have your one little spring here with the hooks on each end of it. So you're going to attach one of those to here with your small screws here, your P12. Put that through the hole first. And then, we're losing it. There we go. Get that in there. And then, shoot. Sometimes I hate the magnetic screwdriver. Okay, let's see here. Get this going again. Use the big screw right here. Okay. Okay, not too tight because it is a spring. It shouldn't be going anywhere. So you want to put that on first, and then put this on your G6 over top, because then you won't be able to get to the screw if you do it that way. Okay, so now with that complete, it wants you to wax. Okay, so pretty much the curved parts, they want you to wax it. So I'm just gonna throw a little bit here. It says front and rear. What's the yellow parts? Front and rear arc positions. So I'm gonna do this one here. Just gonna throw some wax. I probably should have sanded that off first, but so just throw some wax onto that. Now you got your one. It says P9. And it has the diagram on the instructions on the size that you can make sure it's the right one. You got your black sleeves that go on the end of it. So you want to slide this down. Make sure it goes all the way down. Comes out the end. And then have it go through the hole here. Like so. And then you also want to get your other screw. Yeah, you're not going to be playing nice, are you? So the best thing might be to start the screw first. Once you get it into the hole, or into the circle of the spring, get it into the hole and just start it. And then put the rod down the hole. That way you don't have to worry about trying to stretch it over and everything. And then just like before, just hand tight, not too tight. everything, and then you flip it over and get it another sleeve, and you put it on the top of it and slide it right down. Okay. Just seeing what's here. Yep, okay. Okay. And that's what kind of gives you your, yeah, the spring kind of helps, you know, your little trigger action and stuff, so. Okay, so now you're at your G9s. And it looks like the G9 is just okay. So the G9s just sit in here. They don't really lock into nothing or anything like that, which I don't like. Okay, so the best thing probably to do, because what you're going to be doing is hooking these two together, and then they're going to go inside this right here. So the best thing, instead of putting them into here, is just go ahead and latch them in to here, and then latch this into here, and then get your other piece and then put these on, because you're going to have screws to go onto it to tie it down, you know, and everything. And then just get it as tight as you can. And then you're going to just put this in here, and then make sure your 3 tabs are going into the holes here. Your 4 tabs, there's one up top here too. As long as you don't try to break it. Just that part of it kind of broke off there. So that one should be easy now to go on. That's why you got to be careful on making sure that the tabs are going right into the holes and not off by a little or anything, because it will break it. Okay. So here's that. So now on this other side, then you can just flip it around, and then just make sure the tabs are lined up. And then
okay, so first is part 1, part 2 is the man.
is that where that's going? Oh, it sure is. Okay. All right. So there's your kind of your support for your handles and everything. And then the screws you're going to be screwing into are going to be going into here and here. So, which I've got right here. So, get this to line up. Kendall or Kyle? Recording. And then put the other one in. Whoops. And with all the screws, just want to do hand tight. Don't want to be too tight with it because it's just going into wood, so. Okay. And then do the same for this side. All right, so there's your handle. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stain a little bit there, maybe a little bit there, but get that at least to stain both sides. You got your trigger right there. Still kind of loose a little, but I think it's gonna get some more stuff to it later to kind of hook into it and everything. So, okay, so it looks like we got some other spring action pieces that we're working on. A13. Okay, so got your A13. This is one of the few pieces I didn't stain at all because I thought it was just going to be in the middle where you wouldn't be able to see it or anything. Okay, and then you're going to get one of your middle spring parts. And then you're going to put it in here and make sure that it goes all the way in, not just halfway in. So you can like put it all the way in and then just push it down. So kind of push it in just so it's in there because it says it's got to be all the way in. Just so it's locked in. Because if it's on the edge, whatever, then it's not gonna, may not have the recoil of what it's wanting. Okay. Now, get to mess with the shafts again. Okay, so now.
Wait, you don't want to mess with the excluder double gun.
What is that like that for? Oh, okay. So it looks like he.
That means the excluder double is the strongest one.
Put that on the end, push it through, and then just make sure this is flush. Don't want it to be sticking out or anything. So just make sure it's flush on either side. And the pointy end. The pointy end going into the hole right down in here. Like that. So just make sure the pointy end's kind of facing the back. Okay, and then you're going to grab this piece. it's gonna go. Yep. Just make sure everything's lining up. Is that gonna go all the way through? I'm hoping. We'll see. Always nervous about those. Don't want that. A bigger one. Just want to make sure this is gonna hit the hole. Oh. So make sure that's in, make sure that's in, make sure this is going down, make sure this is going down, push this all the way down, get rid of the kitty hair. Oh, the hole. You also got to make sure the
Oh, you know that her shiny skin foil?
that the shaft goes into the hole. Just like so. For it to slide in. Because that's what the two holes are for, is for them to slide into the hole and stuff. Alright.
Let me just pull this recording real quick.
Okay. Now, oh, that's right. So now we're going to be putting this on. Just like before, just start at one and just kind of work your way around. Don't really have anything to push against on the other side because everything's already in. So, but still want to be careful. As you're going down, just pushing it all the way down. Okay. Now, all right, so now you're gonna have this I-14. Yeah. So it's gonna go into here. And then you're gonna have to kind of angle it like this. But then you have this that's gonna go hold it together. Kitty hair. So you have to kind of do that. So you should have a little space on either side of the shafts and everything. And it says to test out the recoil, to push this right here. And then this should pop back and forth. Because when you load everything, that I guess it's going to hit, this should get hit to let the hammer go or whatever. So, I mean, or whatever's going to happen. But you just push on this, and if it recoils back, then you know you're doing a good job. Okay, so we got our next pieces out, all arranged. Some of them stained, some of them not. Some of them I probably shouldn't have stained, but we'll see. Okay. Okay, so we got this piece. Stain the back part, or the front part didn't stain the back part, and it wanted you to wax this right here because this is where one of the mechanisms is going to be moving a lot. So for here, put this in here, and then same for here, waxed here, just in case if we needed it. Then put this in here to get the space between it. Just to keep this, really, to keep the space. Okay, so now we're gonna get this, and yeah, this is gonna go in here. This is one side I didn't stain, so we'll see how it's gonna come out. This is gonna be one of those. I think this is why I didn't stain this piece right here, is because it's gonna be pretty much level. Yep, level. Okay, and this is gonna go in here. So it wants you to put this down, and then it's like it wants you to put it in this groove here, but it wants you to push the spring back, and the spring is going to go over this right here, just like we did on the first one. So kind of get it. Use your screwdriver, you can kind of push it back if you need to. See, now it's over that. Just kind of seeing if there's something else I'm supposed to be doing with it, but I think that's as far down as it's gonna go. Yeah, it won't go down any further, and it won't go back any further because of that. I'm just saying. Yeah, so yeah, just as long as your spring is around that right there, and that's flat, then you are good to go. All right, got all the pieces out for our next step. Okay, we're gonna start with this one. We're gonna have this. Okay, yeah. So kind of big circle over the smaller one and the smaller one over the bigger one. So kind of weird looking, but that's what it says. Okay, and then we're going to use this in here. And then use these 2 screws. They just go down. Yep. And this goes right here. I think these are more just for aesthetic, if nothing else. Just to hold these pieces on as well. Okay. Like the rest of them, just make sure they're hand tight. Nothing too crazy. Okay. Nothing too crazy. Okay. So now, if you can see, you get the screw pieces right here that'll kind of goes up and down. So now what you're going to do is you're going to get the smallest spring. Don't you lose it. Get the smallest spring, and we're going to put it into here and make sure that it goes in all the way to the top. To make sure it pushes against the screw. Use these screws in here. I definitely like using a lot of these screws. Okay, those are in. All right, so now we are going to get have these, and then we're going to get these 2 pieces, these J2s. I didn't stain them because you're probably not going to see them at all, but they wanted you to wax. It showed the front side and the edges, but I did front, back, and the edges. Just went crazy with it. And it looks like you're going to put them over the over these pieces right here. May have to raise it up a little bit to get it to go on there. And then, so maybe that piece doesn't go all the way down, because maybe this is what's gonna like go back and forth. Yeah. So for the spring, this is gonna be going back and forth, so that's why they wanted you to wax here and then here, because it's gonna be moving and everything. So okay, and then that was it, right? Yeah, okay. And then I'm going to put this piece on. careful not to damage anything. And then there's one piece right here. Yep. And then there's one, is there one right there? Nope. It's just those two. Yep. So these two here in the back. That's what that's going to latch onto. Yep. Yep. Okay. And then just this one right here. It should be flush. Okay. And now, imagine that, got more screws. Put these in. I mean, if nothing else, you know, it kind of makes it look like a, you know, models the real, you know, firearms and everything, just to have all the screws and everything into it. So, okay, there we go, nice and tight. Okay, and then you got this to kind of lock stuff in. So it's not looking too bad at all. I actually do kind of like the blue, the charcoal blue and stuff, but yeah, not looking bad at all. Okay, so we got our next pieces out. Looks like we're gonna be working on the other side a little bit. What it looks like. So turn this around. This feels just kind of weird because it feels like it should be heavier than what it is, but it's not. So it just feels kind of weird. All right, so okay, so we're gonna be working on this right here. We got this to go down in here. And then have another rod with the gaskets on the end. Okay. Okay, so this goes into here. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Then you put it on the other side. Because you really don't have a lot of room for nothing else. Just pop that in, just make sure it's there. And then I get to mess with the springs with the circles on the end of it that stretch out. I gotta put the screw in and put it down into the hole here. Just gotta make sure it's off to the side here because I think it's where it's gonna be going. From what it looks, so you definitely wanna make sure it's gonna hold it. Again, not too tight because then you may run that risk of breaking something. And then So it looks like the what am I looking at? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay. So it looks like it goes into here. Right here, your little groove. Goes into there, and then the screw goes in the hole here. This isn't too terribly far away to have to stretch it. So, there we go. And as long as it's in, really don't need to be too far away. But they say you need to turn it over and find the screws and make sure they're not sticking out to hit the springs, because that will cause some issues if they're sticking out too far, which once it's in there, which I can't really see right now. I'll have to go get a flashlight. But you have to shine a light in here to make sure the screws aren't protruding out for the spring to hit and everything. So, okay. So, just gonna make sure that's pushed in all the way. And then we're gonna look, see if we can find the screws. See if they're protruding, which that one is. That one is not. So I gotta back that one. This one, this first one here is sticking out way, or down way too much, so I'm gonna back it out a little and see how, yeah, maybe just a little bit more. Because the screws are long enough that they should stay. I mean, you shouldn't have to worry about it. Yeah. It looks like they're both flush. Maybe just do just a little bit on each. That one just a little bit. Do that just a little bit. Okay. Yep. So, there we go. So, that's what you got to make sure. Those screws aren't interfering with anything. So, okay. So now we're going to be messing with this in a rod, and it looks like we're going to be inserting the rod all the way through to where it's the same on either side, which it looks about right. And then you got to watch the ends right here. If you see, it's got like a little edge on this side of the spin wheel, and this side's like flat. So you got to make sure when you put this in that the edges are facing up. So you make sure the little edges are facing on the top and not on the bottom, because this is going to go into this right here. There we go. Okay. So, because that edge is what's going to catch everything. So, okay. And now, oops. Now we're going to be placing this on. Push up just a little bit. Make sure that fits into there. And make sure all of these. Here we go. Push that down. Make sure that's going in. That's down. Okay. And then that's it. Okay, so that, okay, so now we're gonna be putting these on. Just like we did the other side. Hand tight. Sometimes the screws get a little tight earlier than what they need to be. So I'm just making sure it's in there good. Okay. Okay, so we got that on there. And then we're going to do the same that we did on the other side. We're going to be putting in these J2s that we waxed on both sides and the edges that we're going to be putting on these wheels here. Just to give it that rolling motion and everything. Can't really move it just yet, so. And then you have this part that goes right here that goes up onto this. I'm guessing when you pull this, it's going to release this going forward and everything. So, and then our final step is this is going to go here. Don't know why I did it brown. I probably should have done it blue or the gray, but you may not see it. So that'll go there, and then this. Yep, so it's just going to be these two and this. That's going to be going on there, this right here. And of course you got to make sure this hole, this washer goes into the hole right here. There we go. Okay, getting it started. Yeah, I definitely should have did that blue. Okay, that one's on, and that one's on, and that hole's in. Okay. Okay, that one's down. Oh, and you also got to make sure this pin goes in as well. So if you're having trouble popping it in there, that's probably a reason why. Pushing that down. I think that's all the way down. So yeah, if that doesn't get covered on either side, then I may have to put some blue on that one. Okay, and then have our screws here. Just like we did the other side. Just kind of start it and get the other one going. Okay, I'm just looking down just to see if it's tight or not, and it doesn't look like it is. Okay, I always just like to look at the edge on the bottom here and just make sure it's all tight. Okay. Okay. There we go. So pretty much got both sides done. Kind of got the mechanical stuff into it. And then okay, so what I want you to do is pull the trigger and see if the bolt goes forward. And they're saying if it gets jammed, then that's where you go mess with those screws and see if there we go. That's where you have to take this part off and make sure the screws are not protruding. Okay, so we got our next steps out. Definitely done with the innards. Still don't know about the trigger. I think the spring just isn't strong enough for it to pull it back, but there's a lot of stuff hanging on to the trigger. So we'll see. I think it's one of those where you just pull the trigger back with your finger and everything, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so now we're gonna get our J12 here, and looks like it slides. Gotta kind of spread it out. Have it. Oh, it goes down into the groove here. Yeah, okay. So this slides into this groove right here. Wasn't for sure. So I may have to just kind of expand it out a little just to get it around the edge. But you don't want to spread it out too far because then it may not like it. And then once you get in there, it should slide right in there. I don't think it goes any further than that. Yeah, so it'll just stay just like that. So right where you see the hole right on the end like that. And then on the bottom, you get your G11 and just pop that in like so. There we go. It's got little tabs that only, it'll only go up a certain point, but that pretty much holds that piece in. Should have done the bottom. You kind of see that. Might be something I have to do later on. Yeah, I may have to do that. So, okay. So now, get your K2. Pop in here, and this is the only thing that's holding it on. There's really nothing holding it on down here yet. I just love me some kitty hair everywhere. And then here, doing the opposite. One kind of stays straight, the other one don't. Okay, and then this goes down here. Yep. So this slide down here. Sorry, I'm out of camera. I'm just trying to. Oh, there we go. A little harder to push down. But I got. There we go. So you just want to push this back part down all the way to the as far down as it'll go. It is a pain in the butt. Okay. With that, now we're gonna be putting this piece on. So with this one, I actually stained it used three different stains on it. So since this back part was going to be attached back here, I made it the charcoal gray. And since this is going to be like the bottom part of the barrel per se, I did that black, and then the bottom, I did the gray here, but then I did it the gun stock color, because that's going to be the bottom to kind of match the handle. That's going to be kind of right underneath it and everything. So that's how I did that one. And then these are going to go right in here. And then the holes here are going to hold these together. Okay, you going in or not? Okay, I'm gonna go off camera for a sec. This one piece is not. Oh, okay. I just had to push down on it. Not wanting to go in. Just gotta make sure to push down on the actual piece and not the longer piece, because then you're not really pushing down on it. Okay. All right, so I got those in. Okay. Then you have your K5 piece, and I kind of did the same where the front part, since that's going to be facing the barrel per se, I did it black, and the back I did charcoal gray. So, because I knew it was going to be kind of facing the back part here. So you slide it up, then you just put the little holes. The tabs will go in, and you just have to just kind of line them up. It should just pop right on. Okay, so that's how it kind of looks with the charcoal gray. So, you know, did that bottom, did the back part of that. You know, still charcoal gray there, and then when you do the front, it's all the black there, and then the bottom will be that, because again, you'll have another handle that's the gun stock color that'll go right here and everything. So, but not looking too bad at all. All right, so it looks like we're going to be working on the barrel part, which should be fun. So, my barrel, I did my espresso, make it black, everything. So, we'll see how this turns out. So this is going to go down into here. Goes in there nice and tight, that's for sure. Of course, it could be the stain too, or the fact that I didn't sand a couple pieces. And then this. Goes like so. Again, it's one of those where I wasn't for sure which side to stain or whatever, so I may have to make some modifications afterwards. Okay, so we got that. Gotcha. Okay, so you got your E3. Yeah, E3 piece. Just put the tabs in already. So these are going to go down underneath. I'll just make sure these are in. And then just push them down, make sure they're in all the way. Okay, and then since those are in, you get the top one, your E2, and then just do the same thing. Definitely going to have to do some touch up on both sides. All right, so now you got your K4. K4. That will go to the second one. Just have to be delicate with it because it's very thin, a very thin piece. So I was tempted not to. Oops. Three. Yep. Tempted not to stain the tabs, but I did them anyway. Okay. There we go. And then all of these spots are going to be circles and pieces to get put on. That's going to take forever. Okay, so got all the pieces out. It kind of looks like a lot, but it actually isn't too bad. So easy way for me, because these are going to go in a specific order, is to lay them out in the order that they're going to be put on the rods, because all of these are going to go onto all of these rods. So, and that's just the way I laid them out, is just the way that they're going to go on, just to make it a little easy and everything. So, there really isn't any easy way to do this, but since these holes shouldn't be too tight for these to go down into, hopefully, you should be able to just push it down into each of the holes and should be able to just slide the pieces right down onto it. So yeah, okay. So these will be the first ones to go on, and then you want to make sure the holes are on the sides as you're putting these on. And just line it up, and then just push it down. Once you get it on there, just on the edge, it should slide right on down. And then the next piece should be exactly the same as the first piece. Just make sure the gap is on the side. Just line up the holes and slide it down. Did that just break? Yeah, I think it just broke. Okay. All right, so that's kind of what your first little section should look like. And then right after that, and then it's going to be all of these going in this order. And it looks like it's just like H16 and A3 alternating. So, you know, as you're going down, it'll be, you know, going through. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. Okay. So, the curve is to the inside. So, yeah, and it looks like you might be popping off if you stain. Might be popping off some of the pieces there a little bit, so I may have to be careful with it. And you want to maybe have it on a flat surface while you're doing it, just so that the rods don't pop off or anything. As you're going down, and then just alternate. Again, just making sure that the openings are on the sides. And last one. I'm just pushing it down just to see if there's anything else. Okay, so that's kind of what it should look like. Got the sides there, you got your grooves here, you got your grooves here, everything. And then with the grooves on top, you got your two pieces like this that will go inside of here, kind of lock in. Like so. And then you're gonna get your 9. That doesn't make sense. Oh, I'm an idiot. Hang on. Hang on. I didn't put these in right. Hang on. Something didn't look right. Okay, so it's supposed to go like, oh, I think it's supposed to go this way. Okay, so make sure your opening of how you started is in the front. It goes all the way through. Yeah. Basket case here. There we go. It's easy to have them in the wrong spot. Okay. Now, you can do these. 9, 8, 7. Boy, 6 just barely fits on here. Okay. And then, gonna get this. Put this in here. You just gonna have to just work your way through. To get it to go all the way through. There we go. So I just kind of pushed it to ensure that, you know, it went all the way to the edge of that, to where that popped out right there. Okay. And once you do that, then you get 8. That goes on. And then this one that goes right on top of it. Okay. Okay, so you got to open up the prongs a little bit and slide this in right above the handguard. And it should slide in where it connects into this piece right here. You just may have to, yeah, to where it just slides all the way in to where it can't go in anymore. Just like that. And it's right in there. Okay, and then once you do that, then it wants you to put a little piece right here. And she's back. Which I'm trying. This is hard. I know. Okay. So that little piece I put in right there. And then now, you need to leave. Okay, and then here you want to put in right here on top of this. Just fits right on top of that. And then you've got these two K10 pieces. It looks like they fit right here. Let me finish this and then I'll pet you. No. Okay, so you got this, your K10, and it looks like it goes in, yeah, these first two holes that are right there, that you gotta try to fit them in. I think I got one in. Actually, I think I got them both in. I don't know. Then just do the same for the other one. Try to line it up. And I just broke that. Okay, so you have your little piece right here. It goes all the way around. I'm trying to show you. Just gotta kind of push it in and just lock it in, and it shouldn't be sticking out anywhere. And I'm guessing that's just to hold it there and everything. So, and I'll kind of clean up what I took. And then I'm guessing I'm gonna have that issue with all these other pieces I may have stained and everything going in. Oh, and actually it's wanting me to one, two, three, four, five, six, P13. Okay. So it's wanting me to put screws in these three holes here and these three holes here. So I'll go ahead and do that. I won't show it to you because I got to stand this up, and the camera doesn't do well with that. So, but just put those 6 screws in, P13s, and then I'll show you when I get to the next step. Okay, so as you can see, I've got all the rims, the disc in all the way up to there. It actually was easier than what I kind of thought it was going to be. But, and I'll kind of show you what I did with these next steps. So in the instructions, it tells you to put them, this is toward the beginning, more toward the main part of the gun, going down to the end of the barrel. And as you're alternating, or starting with K31, and you're just working your way down all the way to K14, just going in order from biggest all the way down to the smallest. So what I did was kept each one together and just started at the highest point, and then just kept it going down the line till like 5, and then started another row 5, and just kept doing that, just so I kept them in order. I didn't want to just pull one at a time, put it in, and whatever, so forth, so on. And then also there's numbers at the very top of each holes that tell you like which number is supposed to go here and everything. So, and the way I did it to keep everything straight is like, because since these are in 2 parts, one, the peg is at the top, and the other one, the peg is at the bottom. So I just made sure that all the pegs that were on top always got put in on the same side. So what I mean is, so like on this side, on my left side, were always the pegs, were always the pieces where the peg was on the top. So here, you just make sure it gets lined in with the hole, and you just kind of put the peg in at the top, and then just push it right in. Now with these, since there's only one peg going in, there's nothing at the bottom, then if it doesn't align just right, then you can kind of adjust it a little bit to straighten it out. You know, and you can do that for either side. And then once you do that for one side, then you just turn it over. And then here, the peg is at the bottom. So it goes in here, and then you just push that in all the way down, and there you go. And then it's just off just a little, and I'm just adjusting it to match. Sometimes if the holes didn't line up, I just kind of fit it as best I could. And just kind of look at it, and it looks like a little off. And you got to be careful with these, not to overcorrect too much, because there's no spares. So just do the best you can. Just make sure they're lined up right. And I mean, and that's pretty much what I did. So here, and again, it really doesn't matter which, if one gets turned one way or the other, it doesn't matter as long as they're opposite. And as long as you do the exact same for each one going down. I mean, it probably doesn't matter in the end, but just for my sanity, I always wanted to make sure that the peg is always the same no matter which piece I'm doing. So again, peg is on the top, so I'm doing the left side. And they get a little harder to put in once you get to the smaller areas. And that goes in, flip it over. Peg with the bottom, peg at the bottom, right side, put that in. Oop. Okay, that went in. So, and then you just keep doing it until you get all of them done. And that's why I didn't film all of it, because as you see, there's 30 of them. So I just wanted to do these last couple bits, just so you can at least see what I'm doing. And again, I'm just kind of going back and just kind of, again, just somewhat leveling it if I need to. And this is the last one. Okay, and there you go. So kind of look up top, and like I said, you can kind of see some that are just a little off, but again, it's just because there's just one peg on either side that's holding it together. So as long as they're straight, you know, nobody's really going to notice it too much and everything. So there's really nothing else holding it together. So that's where you just got to be careful, you know, putting them in. Just make sure you don't bang up against it or whatever. But that's the way it should look. All right. So you can't see all the pieces I have out, but I actually have a lot of pieces out. Try to get all this done. Okay. So first thing we're gonna do is we are going to slide this in here. Make sure it's over the hole, and then push this down. Make sure that's connected. Okay. Then we're going to be putting on these, which I would push down into the holes first before putting the screw in. And once it's in there, okay, just make sure it's seated in there good, and then just work on the other side. And you just have to adjust it if the two holes don't line up. You know, if you need to pull the piece out or whatever. Okay, just checking it. Go down a little bit more. Okay. Now, okay, so now you're going to get your, just A1. So I had actually stained both sides, not knowing, but it looks like they want you to wax the two boxes that are right here. So I kind of had to sand a little bit off. But before we do that, need to put on this little piece right here. I'm guessing it's going to be like a stopper or something, maybe. Okay, and then once you have this waxed, again, I mean, I was kind of looking, you know, what was going to be sanded or waxed and what wasn't, but I just have to pay attention next time. So they call this the non-blank side. So you want to turn it over, and then you want to insert it there and push it down onto your 4 holes right here, and then push down on them. To make sure they are all the way down. And then once they are, push this all the way down. Then you want to slide it forward if you can. Which I'm not for sure if it did or not. It's hard to tell. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think those pieces. Okay, yeah, I think it slid us forward as much as it can. It's not going to go up anymore. Kitty hair everywhere. Okay. So, yep. Okay, so got that on here. It says gently push, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, and so now we're going to do the same thing. Grab your other piece And you're going to do the exact same thing. Just being careful. Oh, what am I doing? Hang on. Slide this in first. Make sure you slide that in first. Except this time you're not going to slide it forward. It's just going to go straight down. Okay. That's in there. Okay, so now with the one, got the one screw, which hole? Second one. Yeah, okay, so it goes in the second hole here. So I can kind of see like the bottom piece isn't fully seated forward, but it's still kind of fit. And then you got these two that go right here. I don't think I've ever used so many screws on a wooden model before, but I don't think there's any other way to hold some of these pieces together. Okay. All right, so now, we're gonna go on to work on the side here. Okay, so we're gonna use this, put right here. And it looks like it'll be sticking up just a little bit. It's not going to be flush or anything. So don't want to tighten it too tight. Just get it to where it's just flush with what you have. Because you have the kind of two tabs that are sticking up right here. So we're just gonna kind of get it together right there. And then okay, so for these, it has an arrow going to the right or going a certain direction. So that's the way these are going to be placed down in here like this. And then you're going to get your spring and looks like you just drop it straight down into it like that. I don't think it serves anything, but we'll see. Okay, so now we're gonna do, because this is gonna fit right on top of it, and then this will be right on top of that. And then all the screws, sure it's right over the hole. And then same thing for here. I think it's over the hole. Looks like it is. Okay. I'm just looking at it from the side. Okay. Again, not too tight, just making sure it ain't going nowhere. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to work on this. Okay, so first thing, get this in here. Okay. Put that in place. Okay, so now okay, so push this down and push this on top. Okay, and then same, yep, same. Same. That and there. Okay. Now I wanted to add some more black. I didn't want to put everything, the gray, and all that. So just add some color to it. All right. So now do pretty much the same thing to this side. So same thing with the arrow. Make sure it's pointing this way toward the barrel. Make sure it's in. Okay. And got the spring straight down. And then just like we did before, have this piece. So we're just repeating what we just did on the other side, just putting the aesthetic stuff on. Just tighten it down. Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. And then same thing what we did before. Line that up. Line that up. Got a couple screws here. Okay, hang on. Okay, that's lined up. And that's lined up. Okay. And then same. miss something on the other side. There's one piece I forgot to stain, but we'll see. Like I said, I want to redo some stuff anyway, so I think that goes in here. Something I can just take out to redo. Like that. Kind of like that. And kind of like that. And that'll go facing the back, which I may have to redo that one too. That just kind of goes. There we go. There we go. We'll see. I'll definitely have to redo that one. Okay, I did miss something over here, which is right here. Yep. So I just have these three pieces here. Kind of goes. This is just for aesthetic too. It's nothing, nothing fancy or anything. So. This goes down in here. I'm just pushing until it locks in. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so it looks like now we're going to start working on the drum. That gets loaded into it. So this should be fun. So most of these I probably didn't need to stain because they're going to be inside the drum that you're not really going to see. But yeah, what's the fun in not staining? So okay, so we're going to start with these, and it says there's two of these, and they say watch the arrows. You want to make sure that they both, excuse me, they both show going up when you're working on these. So yeah, I probably should have. This one I actually didn't stain because I actually lost it initially when I started tearing these out. I only saw that I had 2 or 3 of them here. So searching for it, I actually found that it was on the floor. So good thing I caught that, or I'd be hurting right now. Okay, whoops. Now we got 3, 7. Yeah, some of these are a little tight going in, but level them out here. A little crooked. There we go. Okay, there's that, and then opposite. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely liking staining these models. It's just, I mean, I know you can use craft paint, but again, if it's got details that you don't want covered up, then you may have to use stain. Just gotta find the right color to match and everything. So, okay, so here, A10. Okay. Don't want to break nothing. Not to break nothing. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now we're eventually going to be putting it onto this. So we have this. I do G2. Oops, get over here. G2. F11. G2. Then on the front, all A14s. Ouch. Make sure I don't break nothing. There we go. Okay, and now they want you to wax. I'm just gonna sand this off a little there. Sand the stain off. And just I want you to wax this. this part you're gonna be waxing a lot of stuff. Because there's gonna be a lot of movement with this magazine. You're gonna be, the drum is gonna be going up and down a lot and everything. So potentially. So just hitting it all. Okay, so this is gonna go. Here and down. Guess it don't really matter. There we go. And that's okay. And then you're gonna put this in. Pull this wax out. And this is gonna be in the middle here. And then this on the inside. Oh, it's on the, there we go. Okay, so that should be free flowing. Okay. Now we're going to, see here, we're going to be putting in a couple tabs. They go all the way through. It's just, I think it holds the other piece in. Nice. And you can always push down if you want, just to make sure it's there. Okay. I don't think it's supposed to be doing that. So now, slide this piece in. Okay, and then have this all the way up. And put a spring in. Kind of flatten it out, make sure it's down all the way down to the bottom. And probably put something on top to hold it together so the spring doesn't fly out like it just did. Okay. Try this again. right, so I think this is going to be one of the final few steps and everything. So these are pretty much all the last pieces to get done. Okay, so I already did these 2 steps or 2 pieces because it was like had to do it twice. So I went ahead and just did these, and then I'll show you what I did. I'll show you what I did to get there. So you just take this. To make sure the arrow is facing to the left on both of them. Yep. Okay. So you pretty much got 2 the same there. And then here, just doing the same, just one less piece. Popping that in. Popping that in. Okay. And there's those 2 pieces there. Okay. Okay, so we get D1, one of the disc. It's the one. Says I saw, I conquered on it. So you want to flip it over. And then you want to grab your, okay, so the first 2 pieces you did were labeled A's with the extra piece on it. And you want these to be, you want to make sure these are, make sure you can see. So you want to make sure the lines are going like this. Make sure these curved little thingies are down right here. Make sure your A's go up here at the top. Pop this in. Make sure your other A27 piece is facing the edge right here. And you take your B's, kind of do the same. Just pop them down. Make sure they line up. Oops. Just make sure they kind of line up pretty good. Okay. Now we're going to grab this piece, and then they want you to pretty much wax this entire. So I definitely should not have stained it, which I don't. Oh, I gotcha. So. So I'm just waxing it best I can. Okay, so now what you're going to do is put all of these down into here. Gonna stow. So just going to make sure all 6 of these are in the hole, or if not, then they'll just keep popping out. And then the edges right here kept popping out as well. So Just gonna have to keep working with them. Make sure they stay. Everything. So it's kind of a pain in the butt right now. Okay. So I just pushed that down. Okay, so that's kind of what it should look like right now. Okay, now the fun part. So now you're gonna get your edges, your B28, and I only stained one side because last time I had an issue with staining both sides, which you don't really need to stain both because you're not gonna see both. So easiest way is just start at one end, just push it down a little, and then we'll just work your way around. And since this is just a curve, no funky angles like that cello had, then should just go right in. And once you get them all in, then just go ahead and push them all down. The cello head is going back and forth, and I don't know what was going on with it. Okay, and just make sure you get your thicker tabs on the front. Okay. And then a smaller tab, but you may have to kind of push it a little to get it in. Okay. Okay, not too perfect, but it'll work. Okay. Okay, now the fun part. Getting all these in. Woohoo! So you pretty much just got to work with it. Start at one end. If you can. Because it's not going to line up perfectly. Or maybe it will. But again, it's just like before, just that. Work your way around. Well, I'm actually surprised that actually worked. I'm just going through it. I have no idea what that just came out of. Have an idea something just broke. I'm not seeing nothing. Okay. All right. So now These will go into here. Gonna have to line up the holes, which is hard, especially when you're trying to do 3 of them. Just gotta do the best you can. Okay. You just gotta work it as slowly as you can. You have to make sure your end piece is on your left. Okay. Now you want to do up. I'd recommend just putting the tab into here first and then putting it in the middle. Okay. Now we're going to flip it over. I'm going to do B16. Kind of do the same as what we did that last one. Got to line up the holes. Line up the holes and then try to get one in. And then hopefully they will slowly work their way in like that. And this goes right here. And these were 2 that I didn't, never touched. So, a couple more I'll have to redo. But they'll be easy to take off. Okay. Yes. So you gotta make sure. Yep, I'm gonna have to redo this one too. Okay, I'm just gonna put them all in for now, then I'll deal with it later. Here we go. Actually, I might not even need to. We'll see. Okay. So, man, I was getting all these wrong. All of these wrong. I'm just gonna take it out so I can put it on. Middle, and then this one underneath. Okay, and then we can put it on. Okay, and then this is where you had to have all these holes lined up for that to lock on, and then these go right here. Like so. Okay. Okay, so putting in, they're going to come out the bottom down here, so you definitely got to make sure as it's sliding down that it's going right into those holes, or it will not. I would say hold on to the bottom of this, because this is probably where this is going to screw into. So these don't fall out. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to be grabbing our little other ring to go around, and oh, I did it right. So when you put these on, you need to make sure the holes are down facing this part right here. Yep, they're facing this part down here. I was not even paying attention to that, and I just got lucky, because that's where these are going to go onto, is on these bottom parts, and it may affect, you know, going into the to the main body. Man, I got lucky. Wasn't even looking. It even said to make sure that the holes were on the bottom. Okay, and then we're going to wrap this around. Make sure it, going to stretch it enough to connect to the other one. Okay, let's tighten this down. Yeah, okay. All right, and then the last bit are just these 4 pieces right here. They want you to put in, and these 4 holes right here. Yeah. One there. Okay. Again, I'll just have to it says to move these up and down to spread the wax. And you got to push both of them at the same time. You can't just do one. So Okay. Hi everybody, welcome back. So as you can see, I got some dismantling I had to do. I actually was testing out the reloading of the pellets, the wooden pellets into the canister. You know, having it go down into the loader with the spring and everything, and actually it wasn't working too bad, but for some reason the spring wasn't coming back up for some reason. So that's why I had to take it apart to figure out why. And the spring actually had bent over on itself inside of here, because as you can see, there's like so much space for this to go over, because when it goes down, as you see, it bends. And even with it being on the canister, there's a possibility of it, it going in on itself or whatever. So, yeah. So I was trying to figure out an easier way for that to not do that, which, I mean, it's, most models that probably won't happen. It'll stay down in here and everything. But, and, depending, because it gives you like 10 of these to put in, but I wasn't going to put all 10. I may just put like 6, and because it's just a motion of these coming out the side, ejecting out of the canister and everything. So what I did was I went ahead and glued the spring to the bottom of this, just so it won't come off of it, slide down or whatever. And I was going to glue this, but I'll just leave it kind of where it's at for what I'm about to do. But I glued this into here, and then I just got some foam. And then what I was going to do is put it inside over top of the spring. And what I did was I put six of these in to see how far it would go down, so it wouldn't interact with it or mess with it. And then with this now, it may bunch a little, but it's gonna, not bunch up as much, I'm hoping. And then I'm gonna try to push this up a little just so the spring doesn't get too caught up in it and everything, just so it can still slide down a little, but it's not bunching up and all that. So and I'm hoping with that right there, it'll actually help with these, not get trapped or anything like that. So I just kind of wanted to show you that. And then once I get this put back together, I'll kind of go over the motion of these kind of kicking out, which wasn't too much, but then also with the rubber bands of how they shoot out, because technically this is what this is a rubber band gun. I thought these were actually going to get shot out, but they're not. They're just going to get ejected out. But the rubber bands is what's going to actually be, shot and everything. So let me put this back together, and then we'll get that. All right, everyone. So I kind of wanted to go through the motions of how to do, how to load the canister, and then put it on the weapon, and then put the rubber bands on and everything. So hopefully it all kind of works out. I've been kind of practicing with it to get the wax evenly smooth, but it did take a few tries. It wouldn't go, automatically on its own and everything. So I think it's just the more times you do it, the more it gets the wax spread out, and it'll actually start working a lot better. So on the drum, I said canister, but on the drum, you want to start by pushing this up so you can load your projectiles, your wooden bullets, and with that foam over the spring, it's definitely acting a lot better. And I'm just actually going to just load 5. You just put it in, like you just push down and put it in. And then to load it, you got to have these pushed down, because if it's not, then it'll actually hit against the side of the side of the gun. Okay, so once you do that, then you want to turn the canister around. You want to make sure this lever is pushed back because this actually locks into the hole right here. And you want to line up your two tabs or sliders. You want to make sure it just kind of goes right in. Just kind of adjust it until it goes in there, and then pull it back to have this locked in. And this took me a little bit too. I kind of had to mess with it, and then I actually ended up waxing these two edges, top and bottom, just so it would go in a lot smoother and everything. So you may have to wax those two pieces, but I kind of had to just, you know, mess with it a little bit. And then once it's loaded, if you want, once you put on the rubber bands, you could just shoot it with the rubber bands, with the levers down, and it'll just shoot the rubber bands and the bullets inside won't come out. But if you want to have like an ejection, you know, thing coming with it, when you shoot the rubber bands, you may have to shift it. This kind of moves back and forth a little bit. You may have to shift it a little. Whoops. And then make sure that gets pushed up all the way. And it has to be all the way up for it to work. Okay. And then you'll see kind of the projectile kind of sitting there ready to go. Okay, so so to start off, get your rubber band, you put it on your end sight, and you stretch it all the way to the chuck, which is your round part right here. So you put it on the very first one, and then once you do that, you want to rotate it back until you hear the click, and you just load the next one. And you come back and put it around the one that's sticking straight up, and then once you do that, then click it. And it says you can load up to 12, but I'm just going to do the 5 for the bullets I have in there. And you just keep doing that repeatedly until you get to your second to last one. And kitty hair. Okay, so this is the second to last one. So you want to put it on the last one, but you don't want to rock it back, because this is going to be the first one that's going to go into this once you pull the trigger. And then your very last one, you want to hook it and then put on the chuck. No. On the bolt handle. So the last one you want to hook it like regular and then put it on the bolt handle, because that's what's going to cause it to go forward. Because right now, by not pulling the trigger is what's holding this in right now. As soon as I pull the trigger, this is going to shoot forward, and it's going to tilt down for the rubber band to shoot, and then it'll come back hard enough, hopefully, to trigger this to load the next rubber band, and it'll keep going and going. And if you hold the trigger, if everything's moving smoothly, it'll just go on its own. And since we have these up all the way, then these should be shooting out as well, because the bolt, when it goes forward, it's going to hit it to shoot it out. And sometimes it'll get stuck where you have to hit it manually, and it'll do it. So we'll see what happens, and I'll show you kind of what it does. See, so it's stuck. There you go. So, and only two of those came out. So, again, see. So, with the rubber bands, it'll kind of shoot them out a little bit more. But you kind of saw it. Like sometimes it'll stick on the first one, and you just kind of have to hit it. But you got to keep the trigger pressed to keep it going, because if not, then the bolt will get stuck. Because see, I don't have the trigger pulled, and that's what's holding it. So So just hold the trigger and see, and if it doesn't go, just hit it, and then it'll just rapid fire going through and everything. So, and I believe, like it says, it says you can load up to 12, but since I only had the 5 of the wooden projectiles, I just did 5 rubber bands, but you can do as many as you want up to the 12, and then just continuously load it that way, and then just keep working on it. And because my first couple of times, this wasn't moving at all, you know, and I had to keep working on it, keep hitting it, and it's just repetition. Just like with any of these wooden models with mechanical parts, you just got to keep working on it to get it to go and everything. So, and I'll do it again, but this time I won't put the bullets in. So I'll just get the rubber bands, and I'll just show you again. And you just lock. Oops, it wasn't locked in. There we go. Lock it in, pull it back. Lock it in, pull it back. Lock it in, pull it back. And you just keep doing it until you get to your second to last one, which is this one. And then you just hook it, but don't pull it back. And then your last one, you want to go to the bolt. Okay, and so I don't have any bullets in or anything, so nothing will shoot out, but I'll pull the trigger and just see if it goes. There we go, see? So that time it actually went pretty well. But again, it's just repetition, just keep working on it, and it'll eventually, you know, be smooth enough to do that. And then the trigger, the spring that you put on it isn't strong enough for the trigger to go fully back. So you kind of have to push it forward with your finger to stop it and everything. But it goes back a little, but it's just that spring isn't strong enough to go back or anything. So, but and then to remove the drum, you just pull up on this and then just pull it out, and there you go. Hi everyone, welcome back to our final episode of our ROKR Submachine Tommy gun, and as you can see, it definitely looks way different than what the box does, but I definitely enjoyed this build. Something a little different, and it just, you know, looks a lot better with the stain that I used and everything, which I'll go over. I'll show you the ones that I used and everything, but just to kind of get up close, you can see the different stains and everything. And I actually got to darken the rocker right here. The silhouette, I probably could have done something with that to bring it out a little bit more, but I wasn't for sure exactly what to do with that, because since it's not engraved too deep, I mean, you can't really hit one without the other and everything. So I could have done something more with that, but I'm fine with it as it is. I mean, this is all stain, and it doesn't bleed well. It goes all over the place and everything. So, you know, just try to do the best that I could and everything. And then I got a little flower I painted on that one. And then I got the bigger flower I actually painted on the stock on both sides. And since I definitely couldn't use stain with that, so I actually used just some acrylic paint on there, just to get the image on there of what it was, you know, from the box and everything. And if you see the stocks or the grips, the darker pieces, they're actually a little darker than what they were before in some of my earlier videos. So what I had done was I went ahead and used my gun stock stain on this, and then I came back with the espresso and just put it all over it, and then I wiped it off with a cloth, just so that black could fill in the lines and make them show a little bit better all the way around. And I'm definitely glad I did that, because that just brings it out a lot more. You can see the lines a lot better, and it actually did darken the wood here just a little bit more than what it had been. And you can always go back and reference some of my earlier videos before I had done it. And but I just think that adding that espresso to it, the black, definitely brought out those lines and everything and made it look a lot better. And I did that for every piece of wood that was had already been stained originally, which is actually one of these pieces too, and that brought out the letters a lot better as well. So, and then here's the drum, and then actually decided to paint the bullets, the wooden bullets they did. And what I had done was actually sanded the tips at an angle a little bit, just to kind of make it look somewhat like a bullet. And then I used the acrylic paint for these as well. Just painted the top a red and the bottom like a charcoal or a graphite color. But just to give it a little bit more flavor, and everything. So I got the rest of them in the drum and all that. So, but and then the other side of that, how that looks. And then I went ahead and coated both with a clear coat over both the gun and the drum. I didn't touch the bullets because I didn't want to mess with them, ejecting out and everything. So, but once I lay it down, you'll see the little shine on it. I just put a couple coats and everything on it. But here's the stains and the paint that I used for the gun. The gun stock is there's the red, and then this is that charcoal gray that kind of make it look like a metal type. That was about the only stain that I found to make it somewhat look metal and everything, because I really didn't want to use paint, because I know paint would have covered up some of the details that was laser etched into it, and I really didn't want to cover that up, so that's why I used stain. But I found this charcoal gray, and I think that looks actually really well with to make it look like a metal finish and everything. And then there's my espresso, which is my black that I used. If you put a couple coats on, it'll make it look black and everything. And then there's my acrylic paint I used for the flowers that I painted. And then the graphite is just for the bullets that I used and everything. So, but, and I didn't, it came with some targets, and I didn't really mess with those because I'm not going to use the targets or anything. So, and then also they give you the little red stopper to put on the end of the weapon, just to let other people know that it's a safe weapon or whatever. But I didn't mess with that because I'm never taking it out of my house and everything. But I definitely enjoyed this build and everything. And I actually played around with it a little bit more to try to see if I could loosen up the bolt, and sprayed some dry lube in there to kind of get it going, and it actually works pretty well. And the only thing with the bullets is if you sand that down where it's not straight, when you put it into the drum, it'll lean up a little. I'll show you. You see how it's kind of leaning up a little bit, because since it's not going in straight, when it's catching right there, then it's lifting it up a little bit. So you kind of have to press it down a little when you're putting it on the weapon. And if you're removing it from the weapon, if there's a round still in it, you got to kind of push it down to remove it. So you just kind of have to watch for that. Make sure you don't make the angle too steep, or the bullets may not fit into the drum. So you just got to be careful with it. But I just did it enough where you can kind of, make it somewhat similar, like a bullet and everything. So, but no, I mean, this was a great build. I definitely enjoyed it and everything. And I hope everyone likes it as well. And, like I said before, when I did the cello, once I stained it, I was like, probably never gonna not stain a wood model, and because it just adds so much more detail and just brings it to life a lot more. So, but as always, like my videos, please like, share, subscribe, leave comments. I'll get back to you. And I'll get back with you. But I appreciate you watching. I'll see you next episode.